We now welcome in Tim LaComb, BYU basketball assistant coach, a regular on the program. Tim, how is the postseason treating you now?
Things are going well. Just really engaged in the next phase, which is getting our guys through this semester and getting some things done for recruiting, doing some things for scheduling. So just staying busy with all the craziness of Division I basketball.
It's hard enough just to manage Eric Mika and get him out on the mission, right?
Oh, man.
Just that by itself.
Just that by itself. You guys have talked to him enough to know that that's a challenge. We actually went to lunch with Eric last week. He's doing great. He's excited to get out there, and he's actually doing really well in school, too. So
wow.
He's a great kid. Okay,
yeah, he said he's getting fat. Is this true?
I think it's all relative, right? If you look like me and say that, or if you look like Brian here, we were just commenting on how fit he is,
Don't get the slim fit shirt and the skinny jeans. That's all it is.
I'm trying to move into that phase, man. I'm still loose fit everything.
Who's the best student on the men's basketball team?
Best student on the men's basketball team, probably Josh Sharp. Be my guess.
For some reason, I feel like I could have guessed that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Some people just look smart.
He seems like he would be the best student.
But I don't think anybody's rivaling my GPA in college, so we're safe.
Which was?
3.68.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Fantastic.
I don't want to say mine. So.
With tutors, too. Come on, Brian. Tim LaComb, BYU basketball assistant coaches on BYU Sports Nation. You guys went to the Final Four Coaches Convention. Tell us about that experience and why you go down to that every year.
It's a place where all the coaches in Division I are for the week, and it's an opportunity to get together and talk about different things, talk about strategy. They have clinics going on. You can kind of just exchange ideas, and then there's head coaches meetings, assistant coaches meetings. There's some scheduling meetings, that I went to. But all in all, it's just an opportunity to kind of everybody get together, talk about rules, legislation, everything else, and then, watch the games. And every time we hope, we're going to be there someday. That's kind of the goal.
Tim LaComb is on BYU Sports Nation. This is the first time we've been able to talk to you post Matt Carlino transfer. When and how did you find out that Matt decided to transfer?
Coach meets with the guys every year, has a year-end interview. During that interview, Matt, had kind of come to that interview, had made the decision to move on and talked with his family. So just found out shortly after his meeting with Coach.
And what was the reaction from the coaching staff? Were you surprised at all?
Yeah, obviously a little bit surprised, and if in a perfect world, wish that it wouldn't happen, but it's kind of the reality of Division I basketball and actually Division I sports in general. It's kind of a decision that he made, and at this point, being 19 days ago or whatever, we certainly want the very best for Matt, want him to get into a situation that he's going to be happy in. Are grateful for everything that he did for us, and certainly wish it weren't the case, but it is. And so, we just kind of we're ready to move to the next phase, but certainly wish Matt all the best.
From somebody outside of the program taking a look in, Matt looked like he was okay with his role. He looked like he was, he was comfortable coming off of the bench and making an impact. Was there something that you may have seen throughout the season that maybe you saw this coming?
No, I would say that Matt was great. Like we saw the same thing you did, that he was great. In fact, he's probably played as effective basketball as he ever has in that role, and was never a problem in the locker room with teammates, any of that. So I think it's just when the season's over and you kind of reflect on the season, and then the way the rule's written now, a guy kind of can explore his options for a fifth year. I think that kind of is just all kind of played into it, and Matt decided to move on.
That's a great sign of character. For him to kind of think, I'm probably going to transfer after this year, but not cause any problems and keep that team chemistry going.
That's important, especially for the point guard.
Yeah.
He's playing starter minutes, and you couldn't tell that he was overly upset. And it's disappointing as a BYU fan that Carlino transfers, because he is a good player. So now you look to next year, and I'm interested in knowing what you guys have in store for the point guard position. Obviously, Kyle is the starter. and you hope that he's healthy in time for the beginning of the season. Who do you run as a point guard if Kyle, I guess, at least as the backup, but if Kyle's not ready at the beginning of the year?
Well, that's kind of what the offseason is going to be for. We're really excited. Jordan Chapman just got off his mission. Jordan is a true point guard, played point guard in high school, played point guard all through AAU, and is a big guy, 6'4", 6'5". He's got really good perimeter skill.
You go big point guards now.
Well, I think what we just try to find the very best when we can.
They just happen to be tall.
They just happen to be bigger, yeah.
Just a benefit.
Right, which isn't a bad thing. He's got great length. He's got great feel for the game. I would call him definitely a pass-first guy that is always has his head up, looking to try to push the ball up the floor. And then, we've got some decisions to make with other guys in the program. I think another guy you may see is a guy like Frank Bartley, who played
at point,
played some point. I think Frank is a guy that can break the defense down. He can make decisions, get to the middle, create an advantage for us in the middle of the key there. So we've got some decisions to make, but we really like the options that we have too.
I'm a fan of Frank, so that's exciting news. Coach, when a player like Carlino decides to transfer, obviously there's a sense of urgency, right? And, okay, what are we going to do? How does this change things up? Does that situation kind of get your wheels turning of maybe we should go and look for a transfer? And if so, what does that transfer process look like for you guys?
That's an interesting question. Typically, that would be an option. This year, we are actually right at our number of scholarships, and so we don't have a spot for another transfer right now for scholarship. It is interesting, though, that across the country, I just saw this weekend, there are over 400 players transferring from Division I basketball schools.
See that? That's more than one a team.
That's
right.
I don't like it.
253, I think?
Right. I mean, the list, it's crazy. So, I mean, it's something that I think we all have to look at, and we all have to recruit players to come. And then we've got to do across the board, probably across the country, we probably have to do a better job at retaining these guys. But that's a big statement. There's over 400 guys out there looking to transfer to another school.
And we talked about this earlier this morning, and I think this is going to be a problem here soon.
This graduate transfer situation.
Right, with seniors being, they're done to get their degree and then they can leave. And essentially
without penalty and play the next year.
Right. Without penalty, they don't have to. They can play right away, and I think it's just a loophole. I don't like it. I think it messes up everything, and I think if a player comes in and they commit, then that's great. They should stay committed, but it's kind of maybe like a pouting or mad situation where I'm mad about my situation. I'm going to leave. I'm just going to try to get my degree and get straight A's and then leave. I mean, do you think that the NCAA should crack down on that rule?
Well, it is the rule that is right now, and so my opinion of it really doesn't make that much difference. But I think with the rule the way it is right now, I think it's just something we all have to kind of look at, and we've all got to do a really good job of understanding that rule. I think, like you, that it's something that's being looked at because I do believe that some view it as a loophole, and typically those loopholes over the years have been noticed and then kind of tied up.
Right.
So I would assume that it's probably something that will happen, but as of right now, it's not. I mean, this is the rule, so we've just got to do our best to deal with it the way it's written.
400.
400 is a lot.
400.
Tim LaComb, BYU men's basketball assistant coach, is on BYU Sports Nation. We had Tyler Haws on Friday. He made it official. It wasn't a big surprise, but said that he will return his senior season to BYU and not pursue anything with the NBA. He would have had to declare for the draft if he went, which would have been a surprise to me, later this week. Did you guys have conversations with Ty about at least checking the waters?
Well, the way that they've made the time frame now, it's not like it used to be.
You can't even work out for the teams anymore, right?
So it used to be kind of an advantage to put your name out there, and then you could go work out for teams and get feedback.
Right.
And now the way they've structured is you really can't do that. So there's not as much meaning, I guess, in going out and getting those workouts and the feedback. So most of the feedback comes prior to that decision. But Ty is a guy who is always kind of trying to improve, always trying to find the next step to become a better player.
The next step seems to be Lil Haws.
Yeah,
That's part of the next step with him?
Yeah, no question. That's my understanding. I guess we'll see, right? Who knows what these guys will come up with next? But I'm just glad it's not lip syncing again, and they didn't ask me to do it. Yeah. But
I really wanted a coaching staff lip sync. I'm bummed there wasn't.
Yeah, I think Coach Pope did too, but I don't think the rest of us did. Like Pope wanted to be like an opera singer or something. I think he would have been great. But no, Ty is the guy that hopefully, this time next year we're talking about going into the draft, and that's where he's set his sights, as well as all the guys we recruit. Those guys, that's their goal when they come here. But yeah, I think that the time frame for the draft has kind of made it a little easier on us. We don't have to sweat it out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Friday he was on the show and he talked about what he needed to focus on this summer.
I don't think it was any surprises. I mean, a lot of it was defensive stuff. I need to have a good off season on the defensive end. I think people know I can score the ball. There's little things on defense I can do better at.
Like what?
And just keeping guys in front, staying in front of quicker guys, and then just making it tough on good shooters.
Is that the next step for him to be an elite defender?
I think that is a step that Ty's really serious about, as well as our team. I think that's what we have to do to take the next step. When you look back at this year, I think our team got better defensively as the year went on, and it wasn't a mistake that we probably simplified some things along the way, and the guys were just able to go out and play. But
defensively?
Defensively. I think that's something that Ty is definitely committed to, and being one of the leaders on our team, hopefully during the workouts in the off season, that's something that all of our guys take that serious, because I think that will help us to take the next step, and start to advance back in the tournament again. Let's
finish with this, our Twitter question. As BYU is in the middle of the finals week, what's your worst finals experience?
My worst finals experience, man, that's like going way back in time. I would think that it was probably I had a logic class, and logic, and I'm not the most logical guy in the world, and I just remember sitting up one night. It was like philosophy and logic or something like that, and so I sat up one night and confused I was so confused on conditional and unconditional and tying all these phrases together, and I remember taking the test and getting it done, and I'd stayed up all night long, and I walked out of there, and you get your little Scantron, and it said I'd passed. And I'm telling you, I've never one time gone back to any logic or philosophy. That's not me. There's no interest in my brain. I had to pass the class, and I passed it. And from there, I've never even thought about using it again.
Well done. Those classes seem easy on the surface and never are. Nope. Tim LaComb, thanks for the time. Good luck with stuff during the summer.
Thanks for having me on.